What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Muse Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Brumley, and we are here to talk about the AFC East. We're breaking down the 2021 NFL Draft, who won the division, who lost the division, and what do I think of most of the picks that each team made. Before we jump into it, this episode is brought to you by Raise Energy, the best tasting energy drink on the market. Guys, check it out. They're kind enough to sponsor the show. Go to the description of this video, use my promo code, definitely try it. 100%, it's awesome. I really, really like it, whether it's a pre-workout or whether I'm just kind of sipping on it like I am for this video. So definitely check it out. But let's jump into it. So to me, when I look at this division in particular for the 2021 NFL draft, I think one team in particular won this draft. And when I look at it, I look at the New York Jets. So first, number two, they get their guy, Zach Wilson. Now, you can argue, because I've heard some people say that they think they should have kept Sam Darnold and then kind of built around him. Okay, that's fine. But we're just looking at the draft. So Sam Darnold's already gone. They had a hole at quarterback. Zach Wilson, they think's their guy. They think he can be an Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes type. I don't know if I necessarily see that ceiling, but he's a good player. With their second first-round pick, they trade up to 14 to snag Alijah Vera-Tucker, who I really, really like. I definitely feel like he was the best interior lineman in this year's draft. He might even be like the second or third best overall offensive lineman in this year's draft. I really like him. You get your starting quarterback, your new rookie, some protection, which is huge. It's the most important thing. Okay. Then we look at the second round pick. They're kind of lacking on playmaking a little bit. So the guy kind of slips. It probably should have been a first rounder with Elijah Moore. They were able to get him with the 34th overall pick. Huge grab for the Jets. If I'm a Jets fan, I'm loving these first three picks. They go on to get Michael Carter. The running back crew they have in New York isn't great. So I think Michael Carter has a outside chance of starting immediately. They go on to get Sherwood from Auburn, I'm sorry. And he's kind of that hybrid linebacker where he's a safety playing linebacker. So, I think that's perfect for sub packages. They end up getting a second Michael Carter, which is kind of funny. But I really like this Jets draft. I think it's really solid for not only just kind of building from what you have, but I think they got awesome value. So they didn't just draft for need, but they got excellent value for some of their picks. The loser of this year's draft for the AFC East, this was a tough one because there was two teams that I felt like made a mistake in the first round. But I feel like the other team was able with picks to supplement it. So the loser I'm going to go with is Buffalo Bills. And I didn't hate their draft, but I think Gregory Rousseau from Miami, I don't love him. Yeah, he's raw. Yes, his athletic ceiling very, very high. I just don't know. I don't really see him building upon his career. I don't think he has really the tools to really develop into a high-end pass rusher. So I'm a little worried about him. I actually prefer their second round pick as far as a pass rusher with Carlos Basham Jr. Now, he doesn't have the athletic profile that Rousseau has, but I like Basham Jr. a little bit more. They go in to shore the offensive line with Spencer Brown. I do like how they got Stevenson from Houston, the wide receiver speedster, to kind of replace a Smoke Brown. So I did like that one. I'm from Pittsburgh, so Damar Hamlin I think is an amazing pick. I think he's one of those guys that you get in the sixth round who's going to be starting in a year or two, who is kind of a huge value pick. So again, I didn't hate their draft. I understand why they were trying to get edge, and it might have been a slight reach. Yeah, he's not going to be there for their second pick. I don't know. I think they maybe could have potentially traded back. Maybe they don't get him. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't love the pick. I don't love the prospect. The other team that I was kind of torn on, where I just think they missed, is the Miami Dolphins. The sixth overall pick, they get Jaylen Waddle. And I know some people are going to be furious that I say this. I am not a Jaylen Waddle fan. And not only that, is I don't think he's the best player for that roster. I think Devontae Smith is the better player to fit that roster. I think it kind of fits what Tua would need a little bit more. I get it. They want somebody to take that top off because they're missing some playmakers. I understand that. I just don't love Waddle because we keep comparing him to Tyreek Hill because they have a similar build. Waddle's lightning fast, just like Tyreek Hill. the reason we've only seen one Tyreek Hill ever in the NFL, like one guy who looks like he's playing a video game, is because it's almost impossible to replicate. Okay. So I don't know. I think the ceiling's a little bit too high of what we think he can be. I think Devontae Smith we keep just talking about his weight and we don't talk about the technician he is as a wide receiver. I preferred Smith over Waddle. I don't love the pick. I don't think it's, I'm not saying Waddle's going to be a bust by any means. I just don't love the pick. But they did have another first-round pick. They got Jaelan Phillips, who I think is the best edge rusher in this year's draft. He was the first edge rusher taken. He's a guy who obviously has injury concerns, but I just really like him because I think he's a plus athlete, not a great athlete, but he's a plus athlete. But he has moves, which I see some of these pass rushers go in the first round over the years. And, they're super athletic. But if you don't have a pass rushing move, that's not enough to get you sacks in the NFL. I love that pick. And then in the second round, they get Jevon Holland, who is a safety who kind of does it all right. He can hit you. He can pick you. He can zone you up. He can play center field. He can man you up. So, he's a guy that I really like. They go in with their other second round pick because they're loaded with draft picks. They get the tackle from Notre Dame, who's really going to shore up that blind side for Tua. Actually, it wouldn't be his blind side because he's left-handed, but you get what I'm saying, a left tackle. I don't know if he can play both tackles. I don't know that off the top of my head. Kind of a little bit of a head-scratching pick. They get Hunter Long, tight end from Boston College. Hunter Long seems like a good prospect. Just didn't think it was necessarily a need, but they must have liked him as far as the drafting, scouting department goes. So they end up taking him. Maybe Gesicki leaves in this coming off season. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But overall, I just the only thing I didn't like about the Dolphins, I didn't like that 6th overall pick with Jaylen Waddle. I get that if they traded back, if they would have stayed at 12, like they originally were when they traded back the first time, he definitely wouldn't have been there. I don't know. It's a preference thing for me. Then we get to the New England Patriots. So, they could have arguably been the winner of this division's draft because they didn't have to trade up to get their guy. I think they really did like Mac Jones. I don't think they took Mac Jones because they are quarterback needy and he happened to fall to them. I think they really liked Mac Jones, and the way the cards fell is they landed Mac Jones. I'm not a huge Mac Jones fan, but I also don't think Mac Jones is going to be a bad quarterback. I think, Belichick can play to his strengths. I think Belichick has the inside edge on him because him and Saban are so close. So, I think he really knows who this guy is and what he really likes about him. They go into the second round. They get Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama. Love him. He's that interior pressure. He's not nearly as long as like a Richard Seymour, but I think he can do kind of like back in the early 2000s of what Belichick's defense really did. I think he can help with that, get after the pass rusher. They go pass rusher again in the third round. They get in the DN, Perkins from Oklahoma. I like him. He's got a little bit of size to him. Fourth round, they shore up that running back room because it's a little bit uncertain. Worst case scenario with Stevens from Oklahoma is he's going to be like LeGarrette Blount for them. And I think that's a worst case scenario. Maybe they see him as more of a role. He is a huge back, but it seems like he really does have a little bit of speed to him. The 40 didn't show that necessarily at his pro day. But I do think he can be a little bit more of a home run hitter than most big backs are. It's always so tough to evaluate later New England Patriots picks because they go for so much scheme specific people. That, I can look at somebody and think that, I think he's overdrafted, or I don't think he's going to work out in the NFL. But Belichick has such a system that he drafts system guys. So I think it's interesting. It's very college-ish in that way. Overall, when looking at the AFC East, I think that, the Jets and the Patriots had a fantastic draft. I look at the Dolphins. I think they had a really, really, really good draft. Now, if you're a Waddle fan, you think they had an amazing draft. I look at Buffalo, they had a good draft. And I think that's what separates them from the rest of the division. And that's why I had them as the losers. The New York Jets get their franchise quarterback, what they think. They surround him with pieces, protection, playmakers. So this is going to be an interesting year for the AFC North. Do the Bills stay on top? Do the Patriots come back? Do the Dolphins take the next step? Will the Jets finally get out of the basement? There's a lot to be seen, and I can't wait for this coming NFL season. If you guys like the episode, make sure you click like and subscribe and support the show. That's the only way I can grow, and I will see you guys next time.